I'd like to talk to you about seasonal health today. And there's lots of different things that we can do to support our health, and especially in the winter, there's a few things that are really important. So as the days get shorter and the weather maybe not so nice, the inclination to go outside and to get some fresh air, some exercise is reduced. So we might have to really push ourselves to get out there, wrap up warm and get some fresh air. But it's so good for us and for our mental health as well. So as a nutritional therapist, I often talk about diet and the importance, but it's really important to remember that it's within a context of our lifestyle, our stress, sleep. There's lots of different factors. So it's not about being perfect in any one, but it's about trying to aim to bring different elements into our life, into our lifestyle, and find what works for us, because we're all individual. So as I said, daylight is reducing, so we're not being stimulated so much by the sunlight, and that means that our vitamin D levels are lower. Vitamin D is a vitamin that we synthesize with contact to the sun. So from the times the clocks change in March through to October, where we sit in the UK, we're close enough to the sun to be able to be affected by that sunlight on our skin. So we might start to feel the warmth of the sun, or those with the potential to burn might be more sensitive to it. When the sun is at this point, we can synthesize that vitamin D. So we store it for up to 2 months. And vitamin D is really important for things like our immune system, for bone health, but also for our mental health. So during the winter, we can't do this. We're too far away from the sun. So supplementing with vitamin D is a really good idea. If you've had any mental health problems or a low mood, I would really suggest speaking to your GP and asking them to do a vitamin D test. It's really simple and easy. Alternatively, you can do it yourself, and I will make sure that we attach a link for that afterwards. So you can supplement vitamin D very easy through sprays or drops. But also foods like mushrooms contain a little bit of vitamin D too. So that can be one really helpful thing to do. The next is sleep. Sleep is often overlooked, but it's the opportunity of our body to rest and repair. So prioritizing sleep like we would do a young child. We would have a bedtime, bath time routine, is much the same as an adult. The only thing is we expect our brain just to switch off like that. So minimizing screen time, the blue light that we get from screens is very stimulating, and it stops the release of melatonin, which is the hormone that supports our circadian rhythm. So using blue light blocking glasses or avoiding screen time for at least a couple of hours before bedtime can be really helpful. I certainly wouldn't be watching the news, but reading a book or listening to music, just allowing your body to wind down from the day before bed, and possibly something like an Epsom salt bath, allowing those magnesium salts to really soak in through the skin and help your body to relax. Many carers that I meet have problems like fibromyalgia or excessive stress in their muscles, especially around the back of the neck and the shoulders. So an Epsom salt bath can be a really cheap and effective way to really nourish your body and promote good sleep. So looking at diet, as we go through the winter and our immune system is a little bit lower, we really want to promote this. We really want to support it. So as I said, mushrooms are fantastic, not only for vitamin D, but something called beta-glucans. These support our immune system, and with conditions such as cancer, in some countries they're Medicinal mushrooms are one of the first lines of treatment, in fact. So any mushrooms have benefits, even the white little button mushrooms from the supermarket. But trying to get those into your diet in a variety of ways is really helpful. Obviously, lots of vegetables, as many different colours and varieties as we can, and popping down to the farmer's market or a local producer allows us to have variety there with maybe some types of vegetable that aren't really commercially viable. So we get a greater diversity in our diet. And when we get a greater diversity, we've got different nutrients in there, vitamins and minerals, lots of different colours, which not only look good to us and look appetising, but they're really looking after the bacteria in our gut. So, bacteria-wise, there's good guys and bad guys, and we should have something like 100 trillion bacteria in our gut at any one time. It seems a lot, right? In fact, we're only about 10% human, which I find incredible. But these bacteria in our gut, the good guys, they really love the fibre from all those vegetables. They like different types, and this is where that diversity really comes in. So as many different vegetables as we can, whole grains, beans, pulses, and perhaps some fermented foods. So things like sauerkraut, kimchi, you might have heard of kefir or kombucha. These are really great additions to your diet, and they're full of lactobacillus bacteria, which is going to really support your immune system. Even live yogurt, that's a fermented product too. So long as you're not dairy intolerant, having some of that in your diet is going to promote your good bacteria, which in turn is going to support your immune system. And it's also going to support the production of serotonin in your gut, which is a feel-good hormone. So helping to keep our mood good over the winter months. And it also supports that production of melatonin as well. So looking after our gut is really important at any time of the year, but especially in the winter. So other foods that might come as no surprise would be garlic, mushrooms, as I said, onions, ginger, chili. These are really useful ways to add spice, add flavour to our food that is going to have benefit. Herbs and spices that we might have growing in the garden, like rosemary and thyme, these are really good as well, and antibacterial, antiviral. So adding them, whether it's to your roast potatoes or to the end of a chili or a casserole, can be really nice, but also very therapeutic. Staying hydrated is often really overlooked, especially in the winter, because in the summer, if we're hot, it's nice to cool down, maybe with some cold water, but in the winter it might not seem so appealing. So try and make sure that your hydration levels are kept up. So we often say about 1.5 litres of water a day, and I would try and sip that gradually throughout the day if possible. You can also use herbal teas. So Pucker do some amazing varieties in there, maybe things with ginger or mint that might feel a little bit more warming in the winter. Normal tea and coffee, that really doesn't count into that 1.5 litres. So it's not to say that you can't have it, but we want to balance it out. Some of the reasons hydration is so important is, one, it helps to excrete toxins from our body. But if we think about mucous membranes and this being your first line of defence, so in our nasal passages, being hydrated, allowing those mucous membranes to really work well and trap bacteria and viruses before they can get into our body, that's really important. Obviously wearing masks, going into shops and buildings that are have their air conditioning or heating on, that can be very drying for us. So beware of hydration. And lastly, try and get some exercise. Even, as I said, wrapping up warm and getting out for a walk, it's so beneficial for our health. for our mental health, but for our body to pump that blood around, pump the oxygen around to all the cells in our body, is going to support us to be as healthy as possible. Dietary wise, when we're looking at the immune system, cutting down our consumption of sugar is really important. That's really difficult around Christmas time because everything has more sugar or alcohol. The Quality Street are out in force. But sugar in our diet can suppress our immune system. So they say maybe consuming a can of Coke, for instance, can suppress our immune system for up to an hour and a half. So really think twice about what you're eating, what you're drinking, especially if your immune system is a little bit poor at the moment anyway. So try and avoid sugar and avoid those refined carbs wherever you can.